Hi, welcome to the Marketing Podcast. I'm Heather.
And I'm Brendan.
How you doing, Brendan?
Fantastic.
Are you ready for Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still don't, yeah.
Almost there.
Yeah.
I'm whistling Christmas carols, so that's all cool.
My wife used to say that after her birthday, we were allowed to play Christmas carols.
And her birthday.
The 25th of October.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that's a little too early, but
Me
we'll
too.
give her that.
Yeah, I didn't argue.
Yeah. Hey, listen, did you hear? This has nothing to do with our lineup today. We've got a fun lineup, but have you heard about the whole KFC thing?
Yeah.
On Twitter?
I thought it was amazing.
So they're following 11 people precisely on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those 11 people are 5 guys named Herb?
6 guys.
No, 6 guys named Herb and the 5 Spice Girls.
Yeah.
So 11 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
All together.
Yeah.
Herbs or herbs? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
Brilliant.
It's like, I just quit. I
It's
quit.
brilliant.
I quit managing social media. You can't do it better than
You
that.
can't do it better than that. And I guess it eliminates the odds that they'll ever follow the Marketing Podcast at the Marketing Pod _
It's true. But you can follow us.
You can. We'll show you KFC because our followers are awesome.
What if we only followed marketing podcasts? Does that work the same way?
I don't think so. What if we only followed KFC?
Only KFC.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a promotion there somewhere for a big brand. Only follow us and get a free bucket of chicken.
A free bucket of chicken. There you go. There you go. Very cool. Well, today on the Marketing Podcast, we've got a lot going on, and I want to start talking about, since we're kind of at that end of the year time, people are thinking around, what next year looks like and ruminating about how the past year went. I think this is a pretty trendy show. We're going to be talking about some of social media trends to start with here and what we think we should be looking for 2018. And Inc.com put out this article not long ago about some social media trends that we should be preparing for as marketers and people. And for some reason, it's not opening on mine right now. Do you have it?
Mine's coming out.
Great, because I got a horrible pop-up.
I was going to say.
I hope that's a trend. To get rid of pop-ups.
Pop-up's gone. I'm very glad I've turned the sound off.
Yeah. Oh shoot! Good reminder. Thank you.
It's got 6 things here that are the trends, and I'll quickly list through them. So 1, more robust social analytics signal more opportunities for content personalization. Platform feature overlap means you'll have to be more selective. Social listening will give brands an edge to their messaging online. Video will only take a stronger place in content strategy. Number 5 is Facebook is becoming almost entirely mobile. And number 6, chatbots will make customer service faster and easier.
Sure. And some of these topics aren't new to us. I mean, when we talk about video, more insight for video, with video taking a stronger place, we talked about more on that in episode 9 as well. The bots we just talked about in episode 11 and what that's going to look like in the future for us and marketers. I mean, this is really what we're seeing already. We're chatting about it in our podcasts, and you can stay up to date at themarketingpodcast.ca about the technology. Analytics are going to matter more now.
I like how they've worded it too here. Opportunity for content personalization. Basically, we'll be able to target people better.
Yeah.
We see like Snapchat coming out with their analytics platform soon. They're going to be able to target as well, just like you can target on Facebook, just like you can target on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of these trends are like obvious. Platform feature overlap is like Instagram copying Snapchat.
Yeah, and,
you know what I mean?
Facebook stories,
exactly.
And Instagram stories.
You can't be everywhere. So I feel like a lot of these are, like you're saying, no brainers. Like they're already there. They're already happening.
Yeah, I think one of the third one there about social listening, giving brands an edge to their messaging online. It's interesting because since there was Twitter, I've been using that as a strategy for the brands that we're working with. Let's see what the competition is saying. Let's see what people are saying about us. Even if you're not contributing to the conversation, it's listening to the criteria that people in your community, in your marketplace, in your space are talking about so that you can either work to minimize their concerns and become better because you're hitting a point that the competition isn't doing well at and promoting those things, or getting the feedback so you can improve yourself.
This
right?
is it. And it's like, who better to ask than your customer?
Than your customers.
And where are your customers at? They're on social media. So, and
search criteria in Twitter
Yep.
and in Facebook. But I find Twitter is the place where people go when they're unsatisfied with something.
And they want immediate results.
Yeah, you know.
And now I have 280 characters to demand my immediate results.
Right,
Yep.
you know, you
Yep.
didn't serve me well, and where's my refund, or you've lost my luggage, or whatever the case may be.
You know what? I think that Twitter's probably one of the best platforms for customer service.
Yeah.
And I don't even mind. Like, I like when my conversation starts on Twitter, and they're like, "Oh, okay, to handle this better, we need to move you over to email or another platform or something."
Sure, and to handle this better, maybe let's take this conversation offline because I don't want the competition to know that this is an issue.
Yeah.
Or I don't want my customers to know that this is an issue. And that's okay. There's
I love
tact
the
and
response,
diplomacy
though.
there. Exactly.
The responses, yeah.
Yeah. So
Facebook becoming entirely, like almost entirely mobile, like that's every like you don't even need email to sign up for some social media platforms.
yeah.
Everything's going to the phone, connected to your phone number,
Yep.
to your device, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we use Facebook in so many different levels in our agency. We have the Facebook mobile app on my phone, on your phone, on everybody's phone. But then there's the ads app and the different apps that they have that
Messenger.
allow you,
Yep.
the Messenger app. So they're really focusing on that mobile content where 10, 12, 13 years ago when Facebook search first popped up, enter the day of, my old BlackBerry, right? And you were consuming Facebook on your desktop, really,
Yeah,
is
right.
the reality.
Yeah.
And now they've made that shift to entirely mobile.
Interesting enough, this might be a pro tip for people, but there's actually a Messenger Lite app that's like slimmed down version of Messenger for Facebook.
Why would I want it?
It takes up less space and runs better on phones, just in general.
And usually, like I think about apps, and not that Messenger regular app is a paid app, but when I look at a light version, I figure it's a stripped down version that's full of advertising versus the full app, which I would typically pay money for. I know Messenger I wouldn't.
So it's a stripped down version that runs on older phones. So it's like Facebook reaching larger demographics.
Right.
Whatever. Pro tip.
So I can use it on my BlackBerry?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Well. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I've got it installed on mine. I don't even have Facebook installed on my phone anymore.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean? But the Messenger's installed, but it's the light version, But now Instagram's there. That's Facebook too.
Yeah.
I'm still on the platform.
You're still in the ecosystem. There you go. Speaking of BlackBerries, oh my goodness, I saw this article, and yes, I'm aging myself, and I don't care. But there's this fantastic article that came out of the Wall Street Journal not long ago that cassette tapes are making a comeback. So to summarize here, first, do you know what a cassette tape is?
I know what a cassette tape is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Usually you see them destroyed on the side of the road in these sparkly, shiny trails of ribbon when your tape deck eats them.
Yeah.
And you get mad and throw it out the window
Have I
of your car.
ever used a cassette? Yeah, I guess in a car. I've used them in a car.
Audiobooks at one time were big.
5 cassettes in the book.
Yeah, so this is brilliant. I really think this is cool. So this company called National Audio, they bought up tape, right, like that magnetic tape that goes in a cassette tape when it was becoming passé. So, enter 1991-ish when CDs started kind of hitting the marketplace. Mm-hmm. So they bought up all that magnetic tape that was left with the manufacturers. And that supply is becoming limited. And it's kind of a tricky thing to make. Like, it's like this special magnetic process that makes it, the article describes the process. But, so it talks about that. They were using cassette tapes from, the introduction of CDs. Cassettes were still being used for voice, so car audio, particularly, the books on tape, and for blank recording. Right? If you think about, law firms and the legal field.
Or answering machines, those little mini tapes. I use them.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. And like actual recording studios that were still using tape. So they still have had a marketplace for them, but it's been pretty niche over the last couple of decades. But now they've manufactured a new tape technology, which is better quality. So now that this better quality tape has come out, it's kind of like the audiophiles who are so in love with vinyl. Bands are now starting to release or re-release on cassette. And it's interesting why. There's a nostalgic feel, first of all, because like my generation was the 80s. I was born after the 8-track. I mean, my parents had 8 tracks in the house, but the cassette tape was there, and albums were there, but not as portable. You know, I was there with the Walkman 80s generation.
Right.
That's my world. So there's definitely that nostalgic feel, and we've talked on the show before. It's that whole what's old is new again, and people are kind of feeling nostalgic towards the 80s and 90s. But it's cheaper than vinyl to manufacture, to produce, and it converts better than digital downloads at live shows. So as somebody who goes to a lot of concerts, you know, there's always the merch table where you're going to go to the back of the room and buy your shirt or... You know, back in the day, it was the tape, right? Yeah. You're not buying a CD in the back of the room. In modern day shows, if you're the band and you're hoping that they're going to buy merchandise, and
like
that merchandise
novelty.
is really only going to be the shirt or you know the button, the patch, and they're hoping that when they leave the show, they're downloading, they're buying the album off of. Whatever, you know, iTunes or, you know, Google Store or whatever. And they're not converting. They're not getting those sales as much.
Well, makes sense to me. I would just bring them up on my Google Play Music. Like, I wouldn't even buy it.
Right.
I just stream it.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, I've been to a lot of concerts, and I belong to, you know, music fan clubs where after the show, they'll release a live recording of the show.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So I can, like, go to that concert in Montreal or Toronto or New York and hear that exact recording verbatim.
Yep.
And that's really, really cool. But on tape, it's like I can grab it and listen to it right there. I mean, obviously not the recording of that show, but I can grab a tape.
Yep.
Now, how I'm listening to it, I don't have a cassette player in my world, but people who are into that are going to be into that, right?
Yeah,
I don't even think I have a CD player in my world anymore, like realistically speaking. The other thing is they're portable. They're portable.
Yeah, right.
So, like, it's something you fit in a shirt pocket, which seems silly, but it's like from a convertible standpoint, you're trying to get the sales at a concert, at an event.
Yeah.
You can throw it in somebody's, like, they don't have to carry it around with them.
No, I think that, like, throwing out the novelty factor there is really interesting. Like, there's the nostalgia, then there's the novelty that it's a cassette tape. That's 2 different generations coming at it. And then there's actually music on it from that band. And you could spend, I'm assuming it's not expensive.
Yeah,
it won't be the $20 a CD normally is.
Yeah.
I can see how that would convert real quick.
Yeah. Not to mention, I hope this would signify also the comeback of album artwork, right?
Right.
No, but seriously,
Yeah,
because
I
you
guess.
don't like in a cassette tape.
Album icons.
Yeah, in a cassette tape, you'd have so many panels. You could open it up like a book,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You could have like 12 inches of panels. And also on the opposite side of those panels are all the lyrics printed of the songs, right?
Yep.
So it brings back that kind of more robust experience that a band is trying to give their audience. It's more than the music. It's the art that goes with it that complements it, or the story as to how they got to that song, right? And it would create, in my mind, it would create more brand loyalty.
Do you think that this is like a natural, like the pendulum has swung back? We've gone to the point where streaming music is as simple as yelling at your phone, play me some jazz. And now people are saying, well, no, I want a more personal relationship with my music. And they're kind of coming back the way. They're looking for the recording of the show they saw, or they're looking for the novelty cassette tape so that they can flip through that book or see.
And feel connected to it, right?
Right.
And I mean, connection with a brand, connection with anything is multi-sensory, right?
Yeah.
And that tactile experience, being able to touch something and feel it is a very important sense in that experience. But it's interesting because you're touching on something that's a little bit larger, and I hadn't planned on going into this, but it's a really good opportunity where as we get more and more used to using bots and those virtual assistants that we're saying, go to Amazon and buy me this, right? Brands are losing the ability to connect with their audience in that emotional way. Because if I say, hey, robot in my phone, who I won't say so I don't wake up everybody's phones, find me a taco restaurant nearby, it's going to bring a taco restaurant. And it's not going, it's however that brand has done their search.
Yeah, right.
And I may have a visceral feeling towards that taco restaurant. And that's based on the brand connecting with me or not prior to my assistant in my phone giving me that. And that's what's going to decide. If I don't have a negative feeling about them, I'm like, yeah, I'll go to that place.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But if I'm just looking for any old taco restaurant or any old burger restaurant, then I'm going to ask the phone and take the very first one. And the emotional connectivity is what's going to determine whether or not you listen to your assistant or you ask your assistant for something else.
Should businesses be trying to build this kind of connection always?
Mm-hmm. At every touch point, every place. Like that's where the branding exercise really comes into place. It's not about advertising. It is about advertising, but it's about being able to connect with your customers on that deeper emotional level when your virtual assistant is really just giving you an unbiased approach.
Right, yeah.
Right?
The machine
approach. And it's up to brands to be able to create the emotion in the person so that when they hear the name, their opinion's already formed.
Yeah.
Right? They hear the brand that the machine is telling them. So, I mean, I think, being able to create that experience through a cassette tape, where in music is one of those things we talked about in a previous episode too that really speaks to people's souls, period. Yep. So let's get brands back in, like those bands, back into that artistic
and it doesn't have to
film.
be the cassette tape that does it, but something that does those things.
Those experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Twitter.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter.
I still use Twitter a lot.
I do too.
I find it simple.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my age showing.
Yeah. So there's an article that's showing up on, I want to say, Mobile Marketer. Yeah, this is where we're seeing this. Where Twitter is opening new windows into ad transparency for users and brands. So Twitter announced in a company blog not too long ago that it's bringing more transparency into advertising on platforms via their online transparency center, along with improving user controls over ad preferences and adopting stricter ad policies. And at the same time, the company has agreed to have the industry watchdog called Media Rating Council, MRC, independently audit its ad measurements in order to appease brands. So they've named it as such. It's a transparency center, and it intends to offer users information about the ads that they're seeing, including promoted-only ads, as well as a portal to provide feedback. And it will show how long ads have been running, the ad creative associated with a given campaign, ads that are targeted at a user, and which ads a user is eligible to receive based on Twitter's targeting parameters. So,
will it let us opt out?
Not likely.
Yeah.
I mean, right now in the settings, you can opt out of targeted ads and just get general mishmash of stuff, but probably not.
Right.
So this is interesting because it also, speaks to not just Twitter, but a new day of advertising. And I'm going to predict that in 2018 we're going to, as consumers, see an uprising where we want more transparency in the advertising that we're consuming. A lot of this, I wouldn't say started, but we, was certainly heard a lot around, the Facebook collusion around political advertising, and people don't feel good about that. But Facebook is still trying to navigate around that. Now Twitter is also talking about electioneering campaigns and political ads that they're running or have run and how that works and the historical data.
So they're just trying to open up the data so that when the conversation about, say, something like a political ad is run, the data's there.
Yeah.
You can go look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not so bad.
No, no longer is advertising going to be foisted on us. Right?
Right.
Now, interestingly, in here, in this article, it talks more about their advertising in general, and the ROI on advertising is higher. It's
40%, it's saying.
40%, which is really surprising to me because I feel like when we talk about Twitter, it's kind of like, they're trying to figure themselves out. But 40% ROI is pretty substantive. And, some of the numbers that have come out as a result of this piece, and there was also another article, which we'll link in the show notes at themarketingpodcast.ca. There was this third-party research done that talked about the numbers. And, there's 330 million users worldwide. but advertisers are seeing the benefits. So $1 spent on a Twitter campaign delivers an average return of $2.70 for 4 brands, including 2 major consumer packaged goods companies, one an adult beverage maker, and a global athletic fashion company. So I'm thinking, like, it doesn't say it's they've stripped the data, but like a soda company and a shoe company kind of thing. And it's working on becoming more brand friendly. And this I like. They are working with brands to help them craft their marketing strategy on Twitter.
Right.
Facebook sucks at this.
Okay.
There is a lot of smoke and mirrors. If you're not used to using the Facebook for business background or the advertising side of it, it's really tricky, and you're just kind of hoping it works. Whereas Twitter has a portal that's exclusively there to help brands craft a strategy, and they're getting results as a result of that. And I think that's good.
So should brands start using Twitter?
Yes. I mean, I'm reluctant. It's
me
funny.
too. Yeah,
it's
I know.
Funny. But the numbers are showing it. The numbers are showing that there's good conversion. It's. I think, is it better than Facebook? Not really, because you're not getting the same kind of data. Because
Right.
users just simply aren't putting in that kind of data. Period.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
But, I mean, in certain applications, if you're looking to reach a wide audience that's really just based on geography, so you're a big brand, then why not, right? And video is converting at a 20% higher rate than regular advertising.
With all of this advertising, my advice would be, start small.
Yeah.
You say Facebook's not good at helping you along in their process, so don't spend a lot of money learning how to use it. Start small and test as many different campaigns and audiences as you can. Build on other research that you have in your business. Don't just be like, well, I think people are searching for me with this word, so I'll throw that word into the mix to see if it works. Do a little bit of research and then do a little bit of searching through your audiences. And again, this kind of comes back to the first article, like listening to your audience is what's going to help you determine how to market to them.
For sure.
If they're on Twitter, this likely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And in the same spirit of that, there's another article that I want to talk about in terms of trends about tech giants. Publishers are starting to display standardized trust indicators to fight fake news. This one comes out of the Wall Street Journal also. So, of course, this past year, 2 years even, fake news is a term in our vernacular that never existed until 2 years ago. And, of course, the president, I guess, helped coin that as a term. Among other terms that we've never really heard in modern day. But so in light of all the fake news, content distributors are going to be looking for ways to validate information. And they're going to be pressured and called into question their sources. So this particular article from the Wall Street Journal, go for it. You got something to say?
So they're going to have people vet articles?
No. Google and Facebook, being online news publishers, right? They have jointly agreed to adopt transparency standards from industry consortium, the Trust Project, to standardize communication about the editorial practices behind information provided to online readers in order to help them assess quality and readability of online news.
Okay.
So these are trust standards where they're voluntarily provided by the publishers about their content and includes who it was written by, why it was written, how it was sourced and reported, and that's really important. I'll get back to that one in a second. Whether it's news, opinion, or sponsored content, right? So if I'm reading something as a consumer of information, I want to know, is it an op-ed, an opinion piece? Is it actually news, or is it an advertorial, sponsored content?
The ad one makes lots of sense.
News and opinion do too.
The opinion one does too, but when it gets to the news, does it have to be a news agency?
No.
That puts that out?
No, but they have to know, they have to be able to say where it was sourced and reported.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And that is like journalism 101.
Right.
You know, if I go to, and we do this in our trade, right, from a PR perspective, if I go to a journalist and say, hey, I got a story for you, and that journalist knows and respects me, they're going to be like, yeah, cool, awesome, thanks for the story. But they're also going to talk to at least 2 other sources to substantiate that story.
It's like citing your work.
Yes.
Like if your work isn't cited.
It's validating it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that is like imperative for journalism, because otherwise that's how fake news starts. If you only have if you have single sourced articles, you don't know if it's true or not, right?
Okay,
and then
that makes sense.
You're just floating bad information out there.
Because like what I was picturing is like some of the podcasts that have come out recently that have been investigative podcasts.
Right.
And surely the blog sites that have, well sourced stories that they're writing about, if the tech giants start to bias those because they're not in the group of news agencies, I was like, this isn't right.
No. But what they're saying is they're going to start being more open and transparent,
right,
and ensuring that if it is news, that it's the news articles
gets
are properly
badge.
sourced.
Yeah, it gets like a little
verified, if it's an opinion or if it's sponsored content, right?
Okay.
And who's paying for that. And I mean, just in journalism alone, forget the tech giants for a second, just in journalism alone, we are seeing a shift in policies around how that goes. Like, it's got to go to the legal team to make sure that it's not, what's the word I'm looking for, defamation or, that kind of thing. So we need to make sure in everything that we publish or share as a business, it's reliable, right? Like, that's at the heart of how we're sharing information.
No,
Doesn't
it's
matter
true.
what
And
the mechanism
it's
is.
so quick to hit the retweet, or it's so quick to hit the share from your page.
And you hear about these stories where it's like, so-and-so, who was it recently in the media, was reported dead, like a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't actually dead. And I feel like that's happened a lot. But this one was kind of a big thing because then that person ended up dying several days later. But it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's got to be factual. We rely on that. And I think citizens are going to put more pressure on their news sources saying, like, where did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us who. Now, and it's important that people are protecting their sources, that journalists are like, if somebody...
Yeah, you don't have to name the source.
Right. But you have to have it validated by 3 different people or, however many different sources. And we're going to be seeing, and we just talked about this, more rules with Facebook and Google, but Twitter as well in terms of transparency. And I think this will trickle down to truth in advertising and, again, more transparency for sponsored content, eliminating that clickbaiting thing, finally, I hope.
Like the advertorial, like where do you even get that embed code to stick those articles at the bottom of your page? Like, that should just be not allowed. Like,
but
those fake.
I don't think that's fake. An advertorial, like, which is, and this has been around forever and ever. Like, but it's got to be flagged as an advertorial,
not like mixed in with all the other stuff.
No, it still can be mixed in, and the advertising standards are, as long as it says in legible print, not super tiny print at the bottom of the page, like, this is an advertorial. And for those of you who don't know, an advertorial is a paid editorial that is advertising.
Well, I guess I'm thinking, like, when you get to the bottom of the blog and it's got all those, like, clickbaity headlines, and it's like that ad reel, and the site that does, I forget the name of the site, but it's like an embed code you can stick in.
Yes.
And it's like you're reading the news, and here are some suggestions, and here are some suggestions. But that second suggestion is just all ads.
It's all ads.
Yeah. That should just not be allowed. That's what I'm...
Or it should at least be segmented out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, like
better,
separate it from the others.
So it doesn't look like it, So I think as we head into the new year, into 2018, we're already hearing that those big tech platforms that are distributors of information, right, social media networks or news networks, that they're putting these policies in place. We're going to see more accountability, more citizens holding these companies accountable for putting out fake news or clickbaiting or whatever the case may be, and consumers are going to be demanding more accountability and transparency around it. I mean, where you and I, Brendan, talk a lot about being open and transparent and how we run our business practices with people, with our clients, and people want that now, right? They don't want these.
They're going to expect it everywhere.
They do.
Yeah. And so, as a business, don't be trying to trick. Just be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if you're making money through trickery.
Yeah, and like there's no trick, like there's no like top 10 secrets to making the Facebook work for your business. Like engaging, being top of mind, those things are always going to work.
There's no shortcut to success.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? It's got to be honest, it's got to be true. And you've said it a long time ago to me that, your generation of consumers, you have like a really great BS detector.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And now with fake news, it just highlights how much BS is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sick of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We just, as consumers, don't want to see it anymore. So transparency on those larger platforms, it's just going to trickle right down into the small business and making sure that, the ads that you take out and the businesses that you do business with, whether it's an influencer or whomever, is operating to those standards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all.
That's it. I'm ready to call this year done. We have one more show, I suppose.
Yeah, well.
But, yeah, I'm ready just to enjoy Christmas. Hang out. Are you?
Definitely.
Yeah, well, let's call it a show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great holiday, Christmas season.
Perfect.